Hello. Today I want to pick up from where I left off in my previous video blog post, which is when I was talking about what I called the sovereignty trap. I won't go over that again because you can watch that video, the previous post. But that does raise the question, of course, if that's not a realistic way of reducing your um, tax obligations, effective and realistic and legal way, then what is? And I hinted and mentioned briefly at the end of that video that really, if you're serious about that, you need to open your eyes to the opportunities and possibilities of using or becoming living or residing in a different country with different rules, which would give you an advantage. So let me just outline three essential facts about this. Um, Different countries tax on different bases. Most Western countries tax on the basis of residency, which means that if you are deemed a resident of that country, then you're liable to pay tax. And they also include in that the fact that you're liable for tax on worldwide income. So, for example, if you're living in Australia and you're a resident of Australia, then you are not only liable for tax on your Australian earned income, but any income from any other part of the world. Then you get countries which do not tax worldwide income. A couple of examples: Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia. In other words, some of these Asian countries, in other words. What that means is that you could reside in a country like that, and if your work or your income was purely from an international source, for example, if you had an internet business, or you were some sort of consultant in an international setting, or you were working outside of Singapore but you were in fact residing there, then or Hong Kong or whatever, then effectively you're being taxed on domestic income, but not worldwide income. Now that obviously makes a huge difference to your tax paying status, depending on the type of work you do. There are other countries, of course, other than those. I can't think of all the ones at the moment, but the point is there are countries in the world which tax on the basis of local income only. They do not tax worldwide income. So that's one option, of course, for certain people who have international type of income to live somewhere where there is no tax obligation on worldwide income. You do get some small places, of course, traditionally called tax havens, which maybe have no income tax. There's a little country, little island, protectorate of Australia called Norfolk Island, and that country is a tax haven essentially because you can actually live there and you can make money there, but there's no income tax. There is a GST, but there's no income tax. You can live there, you can earn money from overseas, and still no income tax. So there are places that possibly have no income tax at all, and there are other places where the rules enable you to have a certain advantage. In closing, I should also say that there is another basis for taxation, which possibly only one country that I'm aware of, and that is the United States of America. They tax on the basis of residency and citizenship. This is very unfortunate for Americans because what that means is that you can leave America, become a non-resident, but you do not leave your tax obligations behind. Whereas if you were to leave, say, the UK or Australia or New Zealand, you no longer live there, then you have no tax obligations in that country. But if you're an American citizen, it doesn't matter where you live. The fact you hold an American passport means you have tax reporting obligations and tax paying obligations, although there are certain thresholds of where you're not obliged to pay. The essential point is you do have tax and tax filing obligations as an American. So just to recoup very briefly, yes, in the world the way it is currently, there are advantageous strategies you can do based on the country's own tax laws. Different countries have different tax laws based on different tax nets, different tax sweeps. And if you're seriously looking to reduce your tax liability legally of course, then you start looking at those options because these are real, these will work, and you won't be looking over your shoulder wondering if someone's beating down your door to take you away. So that's the thought for today. Thanks for listening and watching.